Well, very good morning, everyone. It's George Beyrouthi here. Give you the market report for Wednesday morning, the 26th of July, 2023. What you see on the screen is the full market report. However, we're going to jump from one section to another to give you a snippet, a view of the whole thing. First of all, we start by showing you what we've had this morning on our screen this morning. The Dow Jones, we woke up and found that was up 26 points or 27 points. Like you say, that's steady. The S&P 500 was also steady, 0.3% up. And the Nasdaq Technology Index also reasonably steady with 0.6% up. Tesla and Apple, one was down 1.4%, that's Tesla, and Apple was up 0.45%. As a matter of interest, Tesla is now $265 US. Approximately 6-7 months ago, it was down to $150. So a very major recovery for Tesla. And also Apple was down to $150, and again now also a major recovery in Apple. BHP and Rio were both up in New York. BHP was up 4.4% and Rio was up 4.2%, as you can see here. And the reason for that is we go down all the way to iron ore price, and we find that iron ore price was steady overnight, trading at $112.51 US per ton. All right, well, obviously there is a good indication that BHP and Rio, it could be because of crude oil. Well, crude oil have actually gone up quite a bit in the last few weeks, even though it's down slightly this morning. However, it's $82.88 US per barrel, and West Texas crude oil, $79.29 US per barrel. Again, both of them were down to about 75, 76 recently. The Australian dollar trading at 67.88 against the US. As a matter of interest, the 10-year yield in America is 3.89%, and the Australian yield, the 10-year yield, is 4.047%. These are the interest rate that can affect home borrowers. Yesterday, the ASX 200 was up 33 points, trading at 7,339. And the futures this morning indicate that the market most likely will open slightly up, 12 points, and trade at 7,312. These are the cash rate, and these are the futures. That's actually, they expect that probably in the 3 months' time in the future, and that's why they are different. All right, Bitcoin, for those people who trade Bitcoin, you'll find that Bitcoin was slightly up this morning, 30,000 US. A couple of days ago it was 29,900, so you can say it's actually very steady around the $30,000 US per coin. That's for the last number of days. As a matter of interest, the highest level we've seen Bitcoin was 66,800. That's nearly 2 years ago, dropping about a year ago to 15,600. As you can see here, from that very low, it recovered just as much, from 15,600 to about 30,000 US. In Australian dollars, Bitcoin this morning trading at 43,100, down from a couple of days ago. And remember, Bitcoin in Australian dollars, it hit 88,900. That was the very highest level, and dropping to 23,700 and recovering twice as much of that low, going from 23,700 to 43,100. Now, to have a good view of what's happening to the market, we look at the 3-week change. And here we've got we can have a look here. I'm going to expand this a bit so we can see, have a better view. The Dow Jones at the end of the last week traded at 35,227. Over the one full week was up 2%. If you put 2 weeks together, it was up 4.4%. And if you put 3 weeks together, it is up 2.4%. Now the full month, 4.45%. And over the 1 year, the Dow Jones is up 10.4%. The S&P 500 up 14.5%. The Nasdaq Technology Index up 18.6%. Mind you, some time ago it was up to 25%. And the StockX 50 Index, which includes several highest level of trade in Europe, it's up 22%, even though it was down or was steady last week. And remember, it was up as high as 26.5% the week before. FTSE was up 5.3% over the year, and the DAX is up 22%. So obviously the StockX 50 Index, which comprises most major European markets, affected by the DAX in Germany. In Asia, the Nikkei is up 15.7% over the year, but we've had several weeks of declines, as you can see here. 15.7%. If you go 10 days ago, it was actually up 21%. Our market over the year is only up 7.7%, not doing as well as all the other indices, with the exception of FTSE, which is lower than ours. Last week, the ASX 200, that is actually from Monday to Saturday last week, was up 0.1%. Let's call that steady. You put 2 weeks together, we're up nearly 4%. You put 3 weeks together, so obviously we had one bad week 3 weeks ago, and we ended up with only 1.5% rise. Gold, for those people who trade gold, the market was up $6.73 US per ounce, going to $1,962 US per ounce. Over the month, it's down 2.2%, and over the year is up 2.8%. And silver done much worse. Over the year is down 6.3%, and copper, that is the economic barometer for the world. Now, every industry uses copper as well as other material, but copper is actually the litmus test for what's happening to the world economy. It's down 15.2% over the year. And then oil, if you look at the last 3 weeks, it's up 8%, that's Brent, and was up 9% for West Texas crude oil. However, when you put it all to when the war started in Europe, in the Ukraine, and Brent shot up and crude shot up, we're now down 19% from that very high level. All right, for people who trade other commodities, remember soybeans is traded based on what China buys from the US. Soybean is up 4.4%. And coffee, if you drink coffee, is up 1.8%. And orange juice, if you trade orange juice, is up 17.7%. Very nice result for orange juice. Okay, now the Australian dollar over the last 3 weeks is actually up nearly 1% against the US, but is down 1% against the euro and down 0.2% against the British pound. Okay, now let's have a look at our trades, our markets. We've got some trading. So our trading portfolio, if you look at the end of June 2023, how we ended up. Well, the conservative portfolio, believe it or not, was up 16%, double of what the ASX 200, that's the gauge for the market. So we did very well. We overperformed the ASX 200 for the conservative portfolio, and we also outperformed the market for the volume portfolio, up 22%. However, you can see here the ASX 200 from July 22 to June 23, the market was up 8.4%. However, the aggressive portfolio did not do well, underperformed the market, and the momentum portfolio also underperformed. But that is actually at the end of June last year. We closed, and by the way, if you look at the end of 22, we find that the ASX 200 was actually down 2%. That is actually from July 21 to June 22. However, you can see here the four portfolio that we have. Aggressive portfolio 4.5% up, conservative portfolio 11.6%. Now let's go down to the latest. We put this morning. Yesterday the market was up 0.46%. That is ASX 200. That's one day trade, and we outperformed the market in the 3 out of 4 portfolios. However, the volume portfolio was down 1.4%. However, if you look at when we started to trade on the 7th of July 2022 to where we are today, which is about a year later, the conservative portfolio is up 18.3% versus the market 10.4%, and the volume portfolio nearly 28% up. But we underperformed in the aggressive. All right, well, that's very important now to see what's inside those portfolios. So we go here to our trading portfolio, the stocks. Okay, I mentioned that the conservative portfolio, we're doing 18%, and the volume portfolio is up 28%. Well, what have we traded in that volume based? And I will explain in a minute what is that based on. Anyway, we find that we've done extremely well in Live 360, up 70%, giving us a return. You can see here the current value, the capital gain. The capital gain is actually $9,600 from an investment of $13,600. So we've done 70% return. And the second thing, we spent $19,000 on Temple and Webster, and it's up 63.3%. ANZ Group up 16%, Mesoblast 23.9%, and Main Pharma nearly 18% up. Overall, the portfolio giving up 28% return over that period from July 22. All right, now in the conservative portfolio, BHP giving us 33.6% return, Whitehaven Coal 37%, Mineral Resources 25.4%, Centre 15%, and ANZ Group 9.2%. And believe it or not, the Commonwealth Bank, despite giving us $210 dividends, has not done as well. And TPG only 6% return. Now, in the aggressive portfolio, we're down 8.5% because we've got 3 trades, Core Lithium and Lake Resources, both of them relate on lithium. And you may ask, why are we holding on to core lithium and Lake Resources? And now I explain to you that we are driven by the fair value. We always look at the fair value and try to assess where we are. Core lithium has dropped quite a lot. We entered the market at $1.06. We're down 33%. However, the fair value is actually $1.05. So we got 50% extra fair value above the last price. And that's why we're holding on to core lithium, even though we've got 34% down on core lithium. Actually, we added a bit more on core lithium as it continued to go down. Lake Resources, also a lithium and cobalt related mining stock, trading at 23.5 cents, and the fair value is 38%, and that's why we're holding it. I think the market has been sentimentally negative against those two trades, and we keep looking at that fair value every now and then to make sure that those values have not changed. Obviously, we need to actually be focused on that fair value as we travel the distance. Okay, other than that, in the momentum-based portfolio, again, Lake Resources and core lithium, we've got them in both portfolios, and we're not doing very well. And ZIP, by the way, trading at 43 cents. And what is the fair value for ZIP? 55 cents. We still have 27% extra value above the last price. Again, I'm going to give you, and the reason why I told you I'm going to really talk to you about the volume-based portfolio, you will see later on in this presentation that we have a model where we look at the last volume either on the week or the daily, and if the last volume, whether it's weekly or daily, exceeds the 50-week average volume or the 50-day average volume, and if the last volume exceeds either of those, then obviously we start to be interested in that particular stock. And then obviously when we start looking at those stocks that have appeared in our scan, just we look at volume and compare that volume with the 50-day or 50-week moving average volume, and then we look at fair value. And that's how we generate those figures. Now, I'm going to take you now to the American portfolio, because the American portfolio has done extremely well. Okay, the S&P 500 overnight was up 0.28%, and the Nasdaq was up 0.6%. Our portfolio was actually steady, slightly down. However, since the 7th of July, the S&P 500 is up 17% and the Nasdaq is up 21.7%. However, our portfolio is up 30.5% since the 7th of July. Remember, a week earlier, we were up 33%. So, I mean, we had 33% rise, but we've had some decline during the week, but we're still up 30.5%, outperforming the market. Let's see now what we've got in those portfolios. Okay, here we go. 30.5% based on the best Coinbase giving us 68%, Netflix 84% return, Shop 85.7% return, Microsoft nearly 50% return, Apple giving us 27% return, and Tesla giving us 8.8%. Again, we look at those stocks and we look at the fair value. All right, now we're going to take you to the next area here. What we see here is the advances versus decline. Out of the 8 last days, we've got 6 days where the declines exceeded the advances. Only one day, about 5 days ago, where the advances exceeded the decline. So obviously for the last 4 trading days, we're actually bleeding on the market. We are down. And yesterday overnight, we can see that our market had more decline. 33% of all the stocks declined, and only 28% advanced, and 38% did not move. These stocks actually, by the way, don't move a lot. And we see also the volume. The volume has been down over the last 15 trading days. And so you can see more or less that we are bearish at the moment because there is no momentum. I think there is concern about the interest rate may go further up. Now, when we put 5 days together, we look at the last 5 days, the advances, believe it or not, because of the volume. These, by the way, are 4 billion. So even though 33% of the market was down, in that 28% there were extra volume. So you can see here the volume over the last week, over the last 5 days, trading days, was up, exceeding the declines. The week before, the same thing. But then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 10, the decline exceeded the advances. And then we have a formula here. Over the 50 days, all combined, the advances was 49% of all the volume, and obviously the decline is about 51.1%. So we had more decline here over the last 10 weeks. What does that tell you? The reason we do that is because we want to see the momentum. When the market is down, or most of the trades are down, versus very smaller percentage of advances, we watch the volume. When the volume goes up higher than usual, that's above that line, we start to worry, because then we have line of regression telling us the volume has been exceeding the line of regression, which there is a momentum. And that's what we see here in that percentage. We have 51% of all the volume over 10 weeks. The declines exceeded advances. We like to see a lot more blue bars and less red bars on the high levels. All right, now let's go further and continue on with our presentation. Okay, let's have a look at the most active weekly. What we see here, by the way, Credit Corp over the week was up 12.7%. You can see here, Credit Corp was up 12.7%. Kogan, which by the way we are trading it, is up 12.2%. And the reason why it's painted yellow is because it's been up for 2 weeks in a row. If we see last week Kogan has gone up, we compare that with the week before, and if we see that Kogan the week before was also up, so we have 2 weeks in a row where Kogan was up. All right, Tyro was up 8.5%. and again was up 2 weeks in a row. Virgin Money 6.5% up, and 5E Advanced Materials up 6.5% up as well. So we like to actually look at these, and we see other trades as well. Flight Center was up 10% over the last week. Again, the first thing we want to do is look at the fair value. Flight Center is trading at $22.14, and the fair value is $18.71, so we are not really interested in this. If we look at Credit Corp, again trading at $23.54, the fair value is $27.18. And by the way, the fair value is a number that we get from several models that we've learned through the MBA, the Master of Business Administration at Bond University, where we put all the future earning, the future debts, the future prices for their commodity, for the service, and so on, and then over several years, and then we bring them back to today's dollar, and then we divide that dollar, that value, by the number of shares and compare it with the price. If the fair value exceeds the last price, then obviously we have extra avenue to generate more profit. So again, so here we go, we continue on. That is the weekly, but also something else we also like to show you is most active weekly 2. And what we have here, we sorted all the figures out. Remember, Credit Corp was up 27%. However, we find that the top 4 numbers, show you here, one, two, three, four, 5, have actually been up 4 weeks in a row. MyState, Baby Bunting, Main Pharma, and Webjet. The reason why we have number 4 on the side is because they've been going up and up every week. So if it's been going up 4 consecutive weeks in a row, it pops up on the top. However, still last week was up 6.2%. The fact it was up the previous 3 weeks as well, we start to have an interest in MyState. And the same thing with Baby Bunting. Was up 4%, again up 4 weeks in a row. Main Pharma, again was up 3.3%. Now if you go down further, we said 2, 4, 5. Credit Corp, mind you, was up 12.7% last week, and was also up 3 out of 4 weeks. So Credit Corp has been up week and week and week, but only 3 weeks out of 4. And so is Kogan. Kogan up 12.25%, and again up 3 weeks out of 4. And so is Tyra, and so is Ampol. And we go down. We actually rank them at the highest level, and we go down with the number of weeks that they've actually gone higher. All right, let's keep going. Now, on the daily, most active daily. Now, overnight, we found that Grange was up 7.4%. Bowen up 2 days in a row and was up 6.9%. And again, we look at the fair value. The fair value is $1.77 and $7.80. How could that be $7.80 when it's trading at 15.5? So anyway, I just want to actually show you these numbers so at least we can have some understanding of what's happening. I don't believe this is because on one model is showing Bowen at 46 cents, but one model is showing $22.81. So if I take this one out, we'll find that the best that we might expect Bowen to do is probably 45 cents. And actually it says here the target is 45 cents. I'll ignore that number because some model don't always work on the basis of fair income or reasonable level. Grange Resources, $1.70. Again, on one model, $1.86. On one model, $2.60. On another model, 87 cents. So it's a fact that you bring 10 economists together and let them do valuation on a particular stock, you might come up with 10 different numbers. All right, so as a matter of interest, all these presentations will actually be offered to you so you can actually look at it in your own time. All you have to do is communicate with us, send us a text or an email, and we'll send you the full report. I don't have time to go through every line in here. I'm just going through an overview. Now, in terms of volume, remember I told you in the volume, we look at the last volume. For instance, this is the weekly. Oh, sorry, that's based on 50 week average. And here, the weekly average over 50 weeks for ANZ Bank is 32 million. Last week, ANZ had 50.1 million trades, and the price went up by 3% over the week, and the volume was up 155%. And look, the last price is $25.16, and the fair value is $28.26. So are we interested to trade ANZ Bank? Absolutely. Now going down to the mid cap, Unibail Rodamco Westfield, the volume was up 121%. Instead of the 50-week volume of 2.87 million, last week we've seen 3.5 million traded. However, the price was only up 0.2% over the week. Here on the other hand, Kogan, and we are trading Kogan at the moment, the price was up 12.2% and the volume was up 20% above the moving average. And trading at $6.05, and the fair value is nearly $8. So we still got 32% extra value above the price, the last price. If you want to go bearish and short the market, we find here that Hastings Technology Metals, the volume was nearly double, more than double the average volume. The price was 3.1%, traded at $1.24. However, the fair value is still much higher than the last price. Now, as a matter of interest, because we don't update all these numbers every day, if you intend to trade Hastings Technology, please give us a call so we can give you the most recent, the most up-to-date fair value. And we give you also some technical charting and tell you exactly what we think. On the technical charting, we look at Elliott waves, Fibonacci, moving averages. We look at 8 indicators, and that's why we have a trademark called GB8, which consists of 8 different technical indicators on the chart. And as long as we have 5 out of 8 indicators telling us buy or sell or hold, then we actually do accordingly. All right, now let's have a look at the daily volume. And we finish off here. Sorry, we go back. Yeah. For Tescu Mines, yesterday, this is daily, 9.5 million trades versus 5.9 50-day moving average, and the price was up 4.5%. However, trading at $23.20, and the fair value is $18.06. So none here showing us real fair value, except BHP is now reaching its fair value, trading very close to $46, and the fair value is actually $46.88, only 2% extra value above. In the mid cap, again, the only one that I'm interested in is Carnarvon. The volume was 4.4 million yesterday versus 2.7 million moving average, and the price was up 3.7%, and the fair value is 32 cents versus the latest price of 14 cents. Alright, well, that concludes our presentation. Again, if you want to get this information in more details and talk to us, our mobile number is 0411 259526. If you're ringing from overseas, it's 6161, the country code for Australia. You don't need the 0. 61-411-259526. Or you can send me an email to george@fs. FS stands for full service. george@FS Securities, plural, fssecurities.com.au. Okay, trade safely and wisely, and have a fantastic day.